There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, that's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to
There
the
is no
lab.
investigation.
It is May 27th, Friday,
But I have to put
2022.
her, but I have to put her on the side.
Nobody wants to live
and
in the
worry about
past.
the boys.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It's great to be here. And I want to once again thank everybody that has participated in the last couple shows. Tonight is not a call-in show, but we will be having one here within I don't know, next couple days. So if you haven't got a chance to call, or if you just want to call again, you're always welcome. Thank you so much for everything, the support, and just being here. Now, with that being said, now that the preamble is out of the way, I have collected some of my thoughts and able to give you a more comprehensive idea and of what I've been thinking. I'm going to touch ever so slightly on the Jose situation and kind of round that out here for you in the way that my brain works. I will share that with you. And no disrespect to anybody, no anything, no nothing. These are my thoughts, and I want to share them. Now, as I've been considering what exactly has transpired, the one thing that I have come to terms with when it comes to this situation is that unfortunately Jose has and was inconsequential to, in my opinion, the case. Sure, it was nice. It was nice to hear from him. It was nice to find out who the infamous Jose was. Jose was brought up many, many times in the story of the Summerwells case. And, you know, from that standpoint, we can say only a very small portion of his life was known to us. That was it. Everything that Jose had ever done or, in the past, I don't know about. But I do know that a lot of the things that were said about him weren't true. I truly feel that he was thrown to the wolves, and not even by any sort of malicious intent. I don't believe that was the case at all. I absolutely do not think that. But it opens up a much more broad, if you will, conversation. A conversation that needs to be had. And the fact of the matter is, we eat our own more than anybody else in the world. We absolutely go on the offensive. We go into things that are none of our business. We have much more interest in other people's lives than we do our own. We somehow feel as though the void in our lives can be filled by disrupting others. And I would challenge anybody in this world that feels that their life is inconsequential, yet they need to, quote unquote, butt in on other people's lives, to take on more responsibility in your life. To take on more responsibility, shoulder more responsibility in your life. That way, you have something to fill that void with, because I'm telling you, if you don't take care of everything else in your life, folks, I'm telling you, it gets replaced with something else that is not good. There is something that will slide in. It slides in and it absolutely destroys. It absolutely destroys. And so for the people, and I don't know who these people are, I don't necessarily care who these people are. You have to fill the void somewhere else. And unfortunately, we fill the void by outing people, by disparaging people, all kinds of ways that probably don't really need it. The fact of the matter is, that there are many more ways to bully without even really thinking that you're bullying somebody. And I've a very strange statistic that I read about just the other day, that 25 up to 25% of adults in America have reported being a victim of some type of online bullying. I believe that number to be low, in my personal opinion. That number feels low. But it's true. I have been a victim of online bullying, but here's the difference. I know what waits for me on the other side. I know that there are people out there that don't like me. There are people that don't agree with me. And I absolutely take on that risk, knowing that my mental state is good enough to handle everything that comes along with this. And it is. And it does, because I don't care what most other people think. Now, some of you do. And that is completely fair. The different kinds of bullying that we're talking about are digitally altered messages, rude messages, hacking someone's account, publicly sharing secrets, and cyber stalking. And the list goes on and on and on and on. It's rampant. It's rampant. This man, who, by all accounts, had many demons in his past, just like everybody else who attacks and harasses anybody has on their own. I'm telling you, if unless you look at somebody with some grace and don't see the worst in them immediately, what exactly did we have to crucify this man? Well, what you could say was, well, I don't think that he did enough to help try and save those kids. Fair enough. Fair. Okay. Whatever. They weren't his kids. Those kids were treated like that far before he got there. They were treated like that when he got there and after he left. I get it. A man who is brought in to a situation not completely understanding or realizing what they're stepping into, as people who have a responsibility to warn the people that we invite on, must make sure that the people that are coming on understand what we are going to expose them to. That's our responsibility. We have a responsibility, whether you like it or not. The platforms that we are given, or that we earn, or that we work for, are a privilege. Jose was not brought to YouTube for anything other than to tell a story and to round out a story, but he didn't need to be here. He wasn't consequential to the case, but he agreed, and he was invited with no ill intent. None. He just was. That wasn't the intent, but it's the after effects. It's the fallout that he should have been warned about. Now, I'm not saying that YouTube is the reason that he's not here, but I'm also not saying that it did not affect an already fragile mind. A fragile mind. A brittle, somebody who had already struggled in life, who had already had there are a lot of people, a lot of good people in this world that lead really crappy lives. And the reason that they do is because of influence, surroundings, lack of funds, lack of leadership, lack of a lot of things. There are a lot of people, a lot of good people who live really tough and bad lives. That's just the long and short of it, folks. And if you don't believe me, head on down to Skid Row and talk to a couple people. Go on. It is not cut and dry. We like to make it seem like it's cut and dry. It's 50 shades. It is not that simple, folks. And I'm telling you this, and without attacking anybody in particular, please just listen to what I'm saying. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But what I'm telling you is when people say things like, I call it how I see it, well, that doesn't mean you see it how it needs to be called. Or at the end of the day, don't say that either. At the end of the day, nothing. Just because at the end of the day you can go to sleep doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it okay. You know, and we're going to get into this weird, phenomenon that YouTube and just people in general, it's not even just YouTube, it's the whole landscape of the world. Or trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Just because something's true doesn't mean it needs to be said. There are white lies and black truths in this life. And black truths is when you use the truth in a way, or black truth, it's when you use it in a way that is hurtful. That says isn't, but it is when it is hurtful. A white lie is when you tell a lie that's not harmful, and you can misuse the truth in ways that are harmful. And in reality, that makes it a complex lie. Just because something's true doesn't mean it needs to be said. Just because what you're saying is true does not mean that you are not manipulating that truth to do harm. The opposite of a white lie is a black truth. That is what we're dealing with. Oh, I'm just saying what I said about him was true. I'm just saying it was true. So what? Why did first of all, does it matter? And I'm just going to flat out say, I'll just say it because I don't want to hold back here. I want to get my point across. If Jose was into something, I don't know, on the internet, some sort of site that some people may be uncomfortable with, and that's totally fine. I don't care. What does that have to do with anything? The only reason these kind of things are brought out is to disparage. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. The only reason, okay, so then we go a step further. Somebody brings up that the man is an RSO. Really? Is that true? Because you would think that that is something that needs to be found out right away. The man came to us and said, I need vindication. I need help. People are walking up to me on the street. The first interview Jose ever did has close to 100,000 views. Do you think that can't reach from New York City all the way to the West Coast? You bet it does. And people absolutely will hunt you down in real life. And they do. They absolutely do. I saw something else about somebody calling, no names. Everybody knows. If you know, you know. Talk about it later. But, somebody's calling the family, recording it, putting it online, not identifying themselves, misrepresenting himself. These are lies. These are lies. I personally looked the man up. He asked me to. We did it. This is not productive. And the only way to stop this kind of behavior is for us to stop watching it, and for creators or people with platforms to just stop doing it. But they'll never stop doing it if people watch. It starts with us. It starts with the audience. Are we going to give these people public platforms to bash and degrade? And then when things go sideways, throw their hands up and go, well, I mean, it was true. That, whether it's true or not, is not the issue. You can use the truth in ways that are harmful. And we have experts here on the internet that do it every single day. Every single day. And when you look around, you go, well, I was just telling the truth. I was just telling the truth. I was telling the truth. Well, who cares? That is not important. That is not important. And so when the damage is done and people who, feel that, well, I didn't like his interview, I don't trust him, all this stuff, people start calling work, people start calling, I don't know who these people call, and I don't know why these people call, and I don't know who these people are. But when they do it, it's bullying. Now, bullying has a negative connotation to it. It almost sounds like a little kid, like it's a little kid thing. Oh, I was a bully, it's a bully. Well, I'll tell you that a little kid bully can be absolutely destructive. And an adult bully can just be absolutely devastating, because adult bullies have the time to master their skill. But I'll tell you what bullies have in common. The people that go after people that really can't defend themselves in the way that they should be able to. Christine said, Lab, why did he put himself out there if he was so unstable? Well, you can stop right there. Do you see the unstable part? Unstable people do a lot of irrational things. We are allowed to protect people. We are allowed to see when somebody says, hey, I have a problem. I've tried to, S word or whatever before, or I think about this, or I do this, or I think about this. He shared those thoughts. I don't know why he would do it, but he did it because maybe he just wanted to. Maybe he thought he could help, and it turned into something unbelievable. There were so many things out there said about him. Maybe he thought that he could just clear it right up. Obviously not. Obviously not. I mean, that wasn't really how it ended up. But this isn't this specific to just Jose. This goes for a lot of things. We are responsible for the things that we say. And yes, if you want to say that, oh, well, these are grown people. These are grown people. Well, the difference here, Caitlin, is that I am not, the people that call in can 100% be anonymous. They're not putting their address and life story on the line. I'm not asking them to do that. So I don't believe your analogy and is good. I just don't. It falls short, but I do like it. I know you tried, but come on, Caitlin. Really? There's a difference in calling in a show and then people looking for you to do an interview. There's a really big difference. With the reputation that Jose had, Jose was already a powder keg. Why? I don't know, because people were looking for stuff. People were looking for stuff. And we found it. That's okay. Sometimes it doesn't. Hey, maybe you should call in one time. But I'm saying I understand what you mean. Sometimes it doesn't come off proper. And I'll tell you, more incidents that happen. If you see somebody doing something that's wrong and you just stand around, do nothing to confront the person or try to console the person that wrong is being done to, I believe you're culpable just as well. I don't think that there's any difference there. I really, really don't. People wanted him to be the bad guy, whether he really was or not. And that's another thing. That's another thing is everybody goes to this this RSO thing right away. I mean, that absolutely. And I don't know who started it. And please, when you're watching, it doesn't need to be said. But whoever saw that or whoever said that, and then it comes out, and I have an idea who said it, and it comes out to not be true, which it wasn't. That, my friends, I hear everybody talking about everybody wanting to sue everybody here and people not really understanding how those kind of libel laws work. That is absolutely defamation of character. And it is absolutely a slam dunk punishment if the person wanted to make it happen. It's a slam dunk. You cannot say that somebody is an RSO publicly when they are not. You just can't. there are major legal implications. Now I know that everybody on here is sue happy. I know that people love to threaten to, I'm taking you to court. I'm taking you to court. Well, this is one that absolutely could be. Absolutely, it could be. Now, I'm not saying that it will. Maybe look, if you had the money it costs money to sue people. You have to have money to sue people. So, I'm not encouraging that. I'm not anything, but I'll tell you, you can't do that. Now, I'll let you behind the curtain a little bit. The one conversation that I had with Jose, he told, and he said this to me, I believe he said to Chris, he wasn't doing well. He wasn't doing well because he felt like he was thrown to the wolves. And by no fault, by the way, and I'll just say it too. I don't believe he was brought on here with any ill intent. The ill intent is what happens after. That's the ill intent. He said he wasn't doing well. Well, that's a nice to meet you. How you doing? And it sucks. And it sucks because what happens is people just start trashing. It's the after effects. There are people on this platform that bullied him, that won't admit to it. That's fine. And I'm not here to say anything, but I saw it happen. You can call it what you want, but I call it what it is. Just because you found out pieces of information about the man that you found, that you deemed odd, or you deemed, whatever, in our own little pea brains, the truth isn't always the truth. And what I mean by that is when you use the truth to harm, it is no longer the truth. It's manipulation. It's manipulation. That's what it is. You got to understand. Maybe no ill intent was done. Maybe that's just how it operates. But it is not without consequences. Good to see you, Justin. Thank you for becoming a member. It's good to see you. These things don't come without consequences. They are very consequential. And I bet you, if you go back and you say, well, Jose was his own man. He was responsible for himself. Okay, I agree. But that doesn't mean humanity can't stick up for one of our own when we know that where he comes from, what he's been through, and where he's going. You understand? Just because something's the truth doesn't mean it is the truth when you use it the way that we just in life. It's not even YouTube. And one thing I want to say is I get so sick of people saying it's YouTube. It's not real life. Oh yeah. Is that how you justify this? how you justify going on about your day. It's just YouTube. It's not real life. Well, if it's not real life, then it must just be the other people that I'm talking to on the other side of this screen aren't real. And they're just, it's all computer animated. Nobody's feelings get hurt. People do awful things to themselves when they've been bullied. And I want, if you can, somebody please put up the prevention hotline right now and I'll post it up there. If you are having any trouble or thinking anything negatively about yourself to do self-harm, you please take this number, call somebody, do it. You have to. You're not a coward. You're just scared. There's a big difference. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let people say that people that go that route. And by the way, as far as I know, that's not what happened. But I'm telling you that the bullying puts that out there. Bullying puts that out there. And then you say, oh, well, you know what? Like, they weren't strong enough. They weren't, up here. They weren't up here enough. Well, why do you say that? Unless you are absolutely able to turn off the internet, it's not feasible to run away from everything. Because what happens on the internet spreads to real people. Real people find out who you really are. They find out who you really are, and then it becomes a real problem. It becomes a real big problem. And unless you or somebody you know has ever felt that they can't take another step or breath in this world, well, you don't know what that feels like. How is that cowardly? How is that cowardly? I find it heartbreaking. And I don't ever want to know what that feels like. And I don't want anybody that I know to know what that feels like. That has to be the most terrifying feeling in the world. I've been to the point where I've been too scared to live and I've been too scared to die, but I've never once felt like I couldn't take another breath in this world. And there are people that do feel that way. So show them some respect. So show them some respect. Show them some decency and some kindness and some compassion. Not everybody's built like you. Not everybody can just act like an asshole all day and then just not think about doing anything wrong. I mean, that's just like, I don't understand it myself. I don't understand it. I don't know. Bullying is not a kid thing. It's not a kid thing. And I ask any creator that's watching this, any father, mother, older brother, older sister, anybody, try to put it down. Try to let it go. It happens. We can be the change, but we need a lot of people to do it, and a lot of people that have a voice. It starts at the top and it rolls downhill from the very, very top to the middle, all the way down. I don't see how that is such a hard thing to do. We have to join together to make this place and other places better. You do not know what somebody else is going through, so you cannot speak on their life. I don't know what was in the man's mind. I don't know how he passed. I don't know anything other than he told me personally he wasn't doing so good. That's what I heard from him. Speak up. Speak up for people. It's enough. It is enough. The hatred that we put on one another without really even knowing what that is. Who are we to tell somebody they're not a good person or they haven't done a good thing? I mean, I've never ran into a person that doesn't have some sort of story where they go, you know what? I regret this. I regret that. There's nothing worse in this world than regret. And do I think that Jose regretted not saying anything at the time? Of course I do. There's a lot of things that I regret. There's a lot of things I wish I could forget. We live in a society that the weaker, more vulnerable will be taken care of by the work of the strong. Whether that be, somebody that's physically handicapped or mentally handicapped. And even though we might deem them, they're not as worthy or they don't contribute to society the way that some major, taxpayer does. I mean, you don't know what they're going through. The thing is that we have this theory, this thought, and it's a human condition. So say you have a piece of land that you're working on and trying to yield crops, and the person that lives right next to you is doing the same, but they're doing it better. Well, they must know something more than you. So instead of trying to better themselves, they want to find out what secret that person knows. So then they go to try and find out what that person knows instead of focusing on what they're doing. The natural human response is to say, well, they know something I know. Or they know something I don't know. When instead, maybe they just work a little harder. When instead, maybe they just try a little harder. They get up a little earlier. They stay a little later. You never think of that. Barbara says, the lab, I'm 70 years old and I've been amazed and disheartened at the bullying online from anyone over 18. Thought this behavior would have stopped once someone was out of school. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. Thank you for your comment. No, it doesn't. And I hope that what I'm trying to tell you here doesn't fall on deaf ears. This is a message not from me, but from just a concerned person. It's concerning. We all make mistakes. We can all change. We can all do better in life. And if we start to strive to do better, things will change. They really will. There are people that bully that don't even understand that they're bullying because they won't pull themselves back long enough to take a look at it from somebody else's point of view. And you got to be able to do that. You have to be able to separate yourself from the situation in order to have a decent look at what's going on. Because if you cannot do that, then we won't get anywhere. We won't get anywhere. We'll stay the same. But it starts with us. It starts with us and it ends with us. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. I feel as though first of all, we want to crucify everybody, the Roman style. I mean, anybody who's ever even slipped up, made a mistake, even if it's an honest mistake, even if it's just, it was accidental. We'll throw them to the wolves. Let them have it. Bullying in life and the internet are the same thing, and they destroy people's lives, then hurt people sometimes, hurt others. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying here is that it's a cycle. And the cycle really begins with, the one thing that I always go back to is people, the reasoning for life, the absolute, they've given up on life. They have no real joy in life. They have, not enough responsibilities in life. And it really does, to me, go back to responsibilities. When people don't have responsibility, they fill their time with things that are much more nefarious. They fill their time with something else. Something else takes over. If at one point in your life, you do not take on the responsibilities that a human is supposed to. Taking care of your kids, taking care of your family, working a job, whatever it is. You have to have something in your life. I challenge anybody that feels that way to seek more responsibility. in their life. Don't run from it. Embrace it, because that is how you live a productive life. And we'll have less time to be angry with each other. We'll have less time to be angry. It starts at the top and boils down. Once again, I'll say it. We have a responsibility to our fellow man and woman and animals, for that matter. You're born with compassion. You're born with empathy. And then you get exposed to things. Most of the people that are ruthless to other people have been through some terrible stuff. And they may not think what they're doing is bad enough or is that bad to somebody else, because, well, people used to say this about me. When did I miss the memo that everybody was the same? When did I miss that memo? Everybody's the same. Everybody's supposed to take everything similar. I can't tell you how to feel. Only you can tell you how to feel. Am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? I don't know. I don't know. I can only tell you how I would feel. But be a leader. Don't be a follower. And you don't have to be, it's not like Moses leading people through the desert. All it is say, like, if somebody says, hey, you don't really need to say that. You don't really, like, it's okay. Don't get so, don't you think that was a little harsh? That's a little harsh. Bullying starts at a very young age, and there are people that are susceptible to it, and they get mocked and harassed. It is so strange. And the thing is, when you're looking at your TV or your computer and you're watching a movie or a show, one of the craziest things that I have ever realized is what I'm looking at on that TV. That's not my environment. Those aren't my people that I'm around. Yet I strive to want to be like them, keeping up with the Joneses. My grandma used to say that all the time. You don't got to keep up with the Joneses. You just got to keep up with your family, your surroundings. Just because the Kardashians are on TV, most of us don't live like that. But don't worry, they make knockoff brand products that you can afford to be just like them. It's true. You can't afford the stuff that they use, but they're going to make it so you can afford to be just like them. Well, that's not really a good example. Maybe those people may be real people, but they don't live in the real world. One of the quality channels is the Lab. Appreciate this Thank you very much for being here too. I appreciate it. I love your videos too. You got some good stuff. It is strange, the Real Housewives, Jersey Shore. Once all that stuff, kind of infiltrated, everybody's like, dude, man, like I'm I'm absolutely like, that's me. I want to go to the club. I want to live in Miami. I want to do this. I want to do that. Liplock No More says girls more likely than boys to be both victims of perpetrators of cyberbullying. 15% of teen girls have been the target of at least 4 different kinds of abusive online, compared with 6% of boys. That is a great comment and great statistics. I appreciate that. Lulu says, thank you, Josh. This is a topic I'm so passionate about. I was bullied when I was younger. My sons were bullied throughout school. The stuff leaves scars for a long time. It absolutely does. And another thing is that when you're talking about bullying starting at such a young age, you can bully anybody. You can bully anybody. Husbands bully their wives all the time. There are wives that bully their husband. That is bullying. You don't know, and you don't get to decide what there's a big difference between being honest and bullying. And it goes back to the beginning of the show where we talked about the white lies. A white lie we didn't really discuss, but that's a lie that you say that isn't harmful. That's why they call, well, it's just a little white lie. It has no actual consequence on that person. If I were to say, I don't know what an example of a white lie would be is, oh, hey, were you late to work today? And the person says, no, kind of a wink and a nod, no, yet they were 5 minutes late, but nobody noticed, didn't affect anything. Work still got done. That's a white lie. It's a lie. It is a lie, right? I mean, that's true. This was whoever said, and obviously, Caitlin, I've heard this before, but the person that invented that obviously was trying to cope with something because the words actually did hurt him. But you have the white lie and you have the black truth. Obviously, a black truth is much more harmful than a white lie. Oh, guys, I have it all. I'll show you everything. You want to see it all? This person really said that, and this person really said that, and this person really said that. Does it need to be discussed? Is it consequential to what we're trying to get done? Does that really matter? Are we really that fickle? But it's the truth, Josh. So? Hey, honey, does this make me look fat? No. What'd you think of dinner? Was it good? Yeah. Hey, honey, does this make me look fat? Yeah, your stomach's hanging out. You're a slob. Go change. Was dinner good? No, it sucked, actually. The meatloaf was dry. It's the truth. It's the truth. Is it? Or would you say, "Hey, honey, I think there's a rip or something. You should probably change." Or, yeah, I like my meatloaf just a little more moist, little more, There's a difference. There is a difference. Maybe the wife has been wanting to lose some weight and she was trying to get into an outfit to impress her husband, and maybe she's not quite there. And you don't want to people going out in public and pointing or whatever. Maybe the husband or the fiance, the man's trying to diet for the upcoming nuptials, and his shirt kind of pulls away at itself. It's, the buttons are screaming, folks. The buttons are screaming. So how does it make me look? You look nice. It just doesn't quite fit yet, but you're going to get there. But you're looking better every day. You're looking better every day. And next week, you look great in that. You look great in it right now. There's so many different ways to handle stuff. And we don't. We don't. We don't. You look fantastic as always. There's a time and place for truth, compassion, and empathy. We get them all kind of convoluted and mixed up. Say what you mean, don't say it meanly. I like that. I like that. The fact of the matter is we need to have more compassion for each other. We need to ask questions and we need to get those answers. Are you okay? Can you do this? How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? It's not that hard. It's not that hard to ask. We make it seem like it is, but it's not. My husband always told me I was perfect, but he knew I'd be happier if I lost that 10 pounds I've been fighting with. Of course. Of course. Thank you, Truth Sleuth. I appreciate that. Of course he. Why wouldn't he? But I'm telling you, we cannot and we can no longer put up. If anything's ever going to change, and you know what? Maybe it won't, and maybe we'll just be right here. And this is where you got to come. But maybe we'll all be more comfortable in our own skin if we treat everybody the way that we want to be treated. The people that attack other people don't want to be attacked by others. So a lot of the times they're pontificating in a way that they're like, well, I'm nobody gets to me. Nothing gets to me. I bet you it would. If somebody was better at it than you, oh, it would get to you in a major way. You just have a bully pulpit. I could take on anybody I wanted. My audience can be as big as anybody's. And I could go after smaller channels all day. What good is that? It's a waste of my time. It's not productive. It's not productive. That actually is something that is going to happen. But I'll tell you more about that at a later time, but thank you. But thank you. I no longer feel as though we are just we're better than this, I think. And I know a lot of people think, that there's a lot of people on here that are lost souls or whatever, however you want to feel. I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel that everybody is redeemable and have redeemable qualities. It's just if they want to or not. There's a way to go about it, folks, that doesn't lend itself to harm. The lies, the manipulation of the truth. And by the way, that's one of my major, that's how a lot of these people operate. I'm telling the truth. I'm calling it how I see it. I don't care. And I just don't. Little kids in school that are bullied don't really understand that the bullying is really, other kids don't think about it like as much. They're just happy it's not them getting bullied. So, they're not equipped to stand up for other kids. Some do, and God bless those kids. God bless those kids that do that. God bless those kids. But it starts a pattern. And if your kid is a bully, and you know it, and you don't teach them a lesson, you're contributing to the problem, because young kid bullies turn into big adult bullies who can do major harm in life. Thank you, AB. Good to see you. Where the wind blows. Thank you so much. You're so appreciated. What do we got here? New member, Sandy Ann. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate that. Vet Girl says we can shut YouTube off, and at the end of the day, can his family shut their grief off? We should be respectful and responsible for what his kids see now. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Vet Girl, as always. Thank you so much. It goes beyond bullying and harassing and is criminal. Agreed. I agree. It absolutely is criminal. Absolutely is criminal. Before we leave tonight, let's just go ahead and remember that words matter. People are at their lowest sometimes, and we don't need to kick them any lower. Stop using the truth in a way that benefits you and nobody else. Just because it is the truth doesn't mean you're using it in the proper context. Everybody has a responsibility for everybody. I certainly wouldn't want somebody to say, well, that he's a grown man. He's a grown man. Bullying is defined as the unwanted aggressive behavior that presents itself in engagement with another individual or individuals that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. Once again, there it is right there, folks. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for listening to me and my rant. The next show will be a call-in show, so that should be fun. And once again, I just thank you guys. You guys are awesome. You're literally the best chat in the world, man. All these people, thank you, everybody. I saw all the other creators. Thank you for being in here, being respectful. Let's just learn from each other, man. We can do it. We can really make a difference in life and people's lives. I get told all the time, and none of it ever falls on deaf ears. People say, Josh, that what you said has changed my life. And if that is true, and I believe it is, thank you. That means more to me than you'll ever know, because I've always just wanted to try to help. I don't think that I have some superpower, but if something I says rings true, well, then it was all worth it. And so thank you for those messages. I really live from the do try and get back to you guys.
There is no investigation. This boy has
not really.
We'll work on it. Huh?
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the super chats. New members, 4 new members today. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you to the new members. I also want a corn dog now. Thank you guys. You guys have a good Friday. What is it, Friday or Saturday? I can't remember. It's only Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, it's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has
not really. It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
There is no investigation. This boy has
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna
the
do
boys.
what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has
Not really. It is to me. Right.
I've done my best. Hard, you know,
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
there is no investigation. This boy has
not really. It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
there is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys